The mind is like a factory, a mental factory. And whatever you think about all day long pours ingredients into this mental factory. Can you imagine dumping a barrel of trash into this mental factory every day and coming out with a rich, dynamic, positive life? It can't be done. You decide what goes into your mental factory. Don't let anybody just dump anything they want to in your mental factory, because you've got to live with the results.
Hey, buddy boy. Hey, buddy boy. There's a lot of little things you learn over the years as a game master that can become very important to understanding how things work, how to get the best out of something, what's effective for the game. And it's a lot of little things that are not explained in the books. And it's not even explained in like 5e, the new Dungeons and Dragons. The books just don't cover a lot of these areas. In all honesty, it might be, and probably is, because the game designer themselves do not have that much experience running games where they got to the point where they understand these details. So guys like me, I bring this to your game, and I bring this knowledge to my own game. So, for example, what we do are group-orientated games. We are playing characters in a group working together to solve problems, right? And those problems could be dealing with action, traps, it could be a social situation. Either way, that's what these games are about. A group of people playing in a situation, scenario, and trying to solve what is going on in front of them. Well, what would that mean? That would mean the quicker the group is able to more comfortably work together, the better the experience is. Now, you could wait over time for them to play so many games together that they communicate better in character, right? Just from that pure experience over time. You can also speed up that process, as you should, and this is what we learn as game masters. For example, if you're running like Dungeons and Dragons, early on there's a lot of little situations to put characters in with all the other characters where there's an expectation of socializing, speaking to each other. It could be at the inn at the town. It could be during the night camping and spending a few nights hitting the camp area. Anytime early in those first like 3 sessions, you want to get the players in as many situations where they are in need of talking. Like it's a requirement that they talk to each other. Like there's an expectation. And so they do. And the reason you want to do this is you want to get the group as quick as you can to a comfort zone of comfortably speaking to each other where they're less held back. They're not walking on eggshells in the same and as they would when they're getting to know each other. Like you want to get them past that point because that's going to be important for the adventure. Like you're wondering why you get players out and they're having a hard time thinking and things aren't going well and they're making bad decisions. Well, I mean, if there's a lack of communication, comfort, and teamwork, that's an issue. And the more comfortable they get in character, like in that zone, the more they go to that zone easier in other areas. Like the more that's because socializing, like any other part of the game, is just playing the game. The more they're just involved in playing the game, the more fun they're going to have anyway. So that early on socializing is great, and it's going to break the ice for, especially if it's a new player or the group hasn't played together in a while. You can know each other for years. It just happens. We all get socially uncomfortable around people we know, let alone people we don't know. Right? So an easy way to get people through that zone is make sure that you're opening the doors to situations where that's happening. Very important. Now, we move on to character development. Well, here's where I'm going to argue that character development is one of the most important parts of the game. There's a lot of people in the hobby that don't care too much for it, or they have a perception of what character development is that I oppose, and in some cases I don't even agree that that's actually a developed character. right? Like if you're playing a character that is just you, carbon copy you, that's not a developed character. You know, with an undeveloped character, you'll remember moments. With a developed character, you'll remember the character. Developed characters are people that they become people to you, and you connect with them. You help develop them. It's like your mummy, right? That's your baby, right? They've grown up. You really do feel a bit of a bond with somebody you have developed that is not you, that is separate from you, right? That was someone you manufactured. How do you develop a personality? Like, develop a character over time. Well, you got a speaking character. You got to express who the character is. You can't just say who the character is outside of the game. You can't just, play the character for a year and go, my character's like this. But if we look back at all the actions, it's like, that's not what your character expressed at all. You're just making that up. Like, to me, a character development has to be real. I would tell players this. You could naturally wait for character development, and that could take, in some cases, with the 5e short campaigns, you don't get to. With the longer, and that's why they'll give you sort of pre-write-ups, because they know there's going to be short games, and not a long time to do this. In longer old school, it could take like a year or so of sessions to develop a character. You don't need to do that. You can get the basic development of the character out of the gate in 1 or 2 sessions by simply going to yourself, okay, it's not hard. You just gotta, you do it intentionally. And I'll tell you why I think it's important in a second. First, intentionally means every line you speak, every time you get in a social situation, you're asked a question or you have to just say what your character thinks. Understand the thought is going to tell you a lot about the character. So if they share a thought, well, that could mean they probably would say no or yes to this, that, and that. So remember, every time you give out a piece of information through, say, socializing with your character, you're building the character in a way that is more than just an answer to that one question. Because there's a lot that can be assumed right from that. Just, if they believe this, and you don't have to assume everything, but you can. So you can take advantage of the assumptions that come along for the sake of developing the character really quick, right? Either way, you got to remember every line of dialogue. So if you don't focus on this, you won't notice it. You won't really look at how your character is. Character development has to be something that you give a bit of attention to, and it's expressed. Like, you almost got to let people know, right? Like, my character is this, and that they can go, yeah, they have, because you've taken the time out in social interactions or even in action with the character to make the character do things that go align with who you say they are, right? And that early dialogue in the first 1 or 2 sessions, if you focus on it, like every line means something to you. Every time you answer a question for the character, it's going to say all this about the character. If you care about that, pay attention. By the end of the second session, you'll probably be able to say what does he think about this? And you'll be able to just give an answer right away. Or go, yeah, he'd probably say no to that. You can say things like that because you're closer to the answer now, because you said on the basic level, you have a basic character developed. Now you can take your time, but understand you've already developed something, so now you'll play to it. I no longer have to get you to focus on it, or it's going to seem tedious. The basic development, the effort of those first 2 sessions just becomes something that you can just comfortably play on now. You don't got to work at it. You have a base of knowing sort of what your character might think, so it becomes easier to answer questions, easier to decide things going forward, and you build a connection, and you're developing someone who's not you. Don't wait 1.5 years to do that. Do it instantly. The experience is fucking amazing. Any good game master is going to realize this and see how you get there, and not try to push this on you in some negative way. Hear my argument. I'm saying it's a good thing for you, so I want that to be your experience. And honestly, I'm a good game master, so I want you to have the best experience. So you can walk away from my game going, "Oh, man, that was good." Of course, I want that, and I want you to look at character development almost like a wrestler. Wrestling is a great way to look at character development. It's all about every line to them becomes important. Every time they show their character or they step out to do something in public, everything is important. Like, they live the character, right? In a way, during the game, I want you to sort of feel like that. Like, every time you say a line, it's to express the character. Like, you give a damn and you actually focus on that. Not like oh, I always got to think about this in a negative way, but in a fun way. Like, in that way of, man, it's really important to you how your character is presented to everyone. Like, you know that first line of dialogue is important. And it can be like that with what we do, and you can enjoy that. You can enjoy that a lot. Developing a character is fucking fun, especially when you get it sorted down to a system like that. You get it. It's not hard anymore because the average Joe can now do it with a system of just understanding. They just got to care about these minor things, and suddenly you got a fucking character developed quick, and you got something to work off of. And the most average player we have, right, is going to enjoy this shit. So a good experienced game master is going to want to communicate that about character development to you. I have several videos on that, but the reason I push it is because I know how fucking good it is for everyone in the hobby. I haven't met anybody who goes, I have this taste or that taste, who has that experience and says, man, no, I don't know. Everybody likes that experience. Everybody, up and down the board, right? Everybody on every side of the fence likes that version of character. That you got to do it to humor me type of thing if you haven't. But once you humor me, and you don't need to wait for a game master who doesn't, just go in and play your character in that first session or two, the way I say. Just care about every action, the physical way you present them and they stand up, boom, 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 how they talk. Again, you don't got to do special voices for a character, but you can describe how they sound. This is another thing I'll tell you as an experienced game master. A lot of people out there think that doing unique special voices will make you either a better game master or a better player. This is where, as a 30-plus year experienced game master with over 10,000 sessions, I'm going to tell you something that's just all based in truth, just so you can understand. I appreciate the talent of doing a unique voice. It's a talent. I accept it. Completely acknowledged. Let's just we respect the people that can do it. It is an honest talent, right? So there, that's out of the door. We're respecting the people that can do it, right? Before I say what I'm going to say. But in reality, doing a special voice does not improve you as a game master or player, and I'll tell you why. We're playing in the imagination. The unique voice can be entertaining, give you a little fluff for a little while when you're the player. I'm not talking about the audience watching Matt Mercer. I understand under entertainment purposes, the unique voice is great, right? He can sell that to the onlooker. But if you're in the game, here's what you're going to notice as a player. Experienced players who really consider what they've been through will understand what I'm saying here. They should respect this because I know I'm going to be spot on with this. After a bit, like a short bit, you don't notice the voice. Like the voice doesn't sway you anymore. Basically, your imagination has taken over. And it's more powerful than the triggering influence going on around it. That's what you find. If you really discover how deep your imagination is, like from reading a novel, it's so powerful that it overtakes everything. Like, I can be as effective without a voice just by describing the tone and the sound of the say I'm game master. I could say what she sounds like, or I don't even have to. Here's a great thing about players. I just got to tell them it's female, and then here's what I really got to do as a game master. Just make sure I don't speak words that sound like what a guy would say, right? So I got to say words like she would, and they're going to take the female merchant in as a female merchant. There's no work on my end, right? No work at all. Player's imagination will I could sit there and just plain Jane speak. I can add some details. It will work all the fucking same. I gotta say the right words. I gotta use some tone. Get creepy when I gotta get creepy. Like, add some tone to it, but I don't gotta do a unique voice. Same thing with players. You'll notice that the voice means nothing after a short bit because the imagination simply takes over everything. And that's a good thing because it says, guess what? You can't just be considered the better game master because it actually doesn't improve you as a game master to do unique voices. Same thing as a player. It doesn't improve you as a player. You can do a unique voice and still be the stupidest cunt at the fucking table making the worst decisions. I know lots of guys who can do unique voices, can't run the fucking game for a lick. Like, couldn't do it to save their fucking life. They suck at it. But they're fucking great at doing voices. Doing voices is not a talent that says, this makes you better than everybody else, like it gives you a step up. It's a short piece of entertainment for a short term, and you can impress some people like it's a party trick. But, and no disrespect to the people that do voices, but that's all it is a party trick. You know, as an experienced public game master, I'll tell you the best way to deal with confrontation or conflict is, I call it casual conflict. So the second you as a game master see an issue, speak up and say just, nope, stop that. Say it like that. That's it. Straightforward on, hey man, stop over talking people. You gotta calm down. Like, I like the energy, but you gotta stop like cutting everybody off. You gotta stop doing that. Say it like that. Just bang it out. Get the person to nod. Guess what? Even if they're angry, they get over it in a minute. Like, as long as you're not, don't drag on it either. See, when somebody's called out on something, you got to do it casually, and here's the secondary trick to it. Don't linger. Nerds have an issue with, they don't understand what causes people to end up getting that angry they might punch them. Right, here's a secret, nerd, so you don't get people to punch you. When somebody is fucked up, they don't want to be called on it. Most people don't. When they're playing a game and they have to be called on it, they can sort of live on that edge, right? But you got to understand, when you push people that do not like to be called on shit too far, they'll already get violent outside of the accepting that they're in the game. They got to go a bit on the edge and let you call them out. Like, if it wasn't for being there, some people could just get violent, go crazy being called out. Nobody likes to be called out. Well, most people don't like to be called out on a certain number of things. So when you're calling somebody out during a game, you can't linger. So it's got to be straight, like, hey, you're over talking people. Like, add things like the benefit. Like, I like the energy, because you do. There's truth in what you're saying. Don't bullshit people. But you want to be casual, straightforward. Say, like, you know, I like how you're really pushing on this, and we need that. But you're cutting people. But you say it casually, quick. Hey, stop doing that, right? You get the nod. That's it. Back to the game. And they'll appreciate that. And that's how you build trust with those touchy players. Because they like that. They like, oh, okay. Okay. I nodded. I don't feel like a piece of shit. It's over really quick. Cool. Let me test it if this guy makes a mistake. Hey, Steven, you missed this. Oh, I did. Let me fix that. Cool. That's how there's a little secret to building trust with players. Just don't fuck around. Stop pretending you have to be the greatest thing since sliced bread. Like you have to be the greatest fucking person at the table. You don't. It's okay just to make a mistake. But you ask players for the same respect. So I tell a player, if you see a mess up and you tell me, and I go, cool, I fix it, shut the fuck up. Right? Don't drag me on that. I got other things to focus on. Do you want a good gaming session? Why would you want to pull me down? Don't do that. Be grateful that I react like an honest guy to any issue. And I quickly say yes and solve it. That's it. That's how you build trust. Don't fuck around. Easiest way to build trust with any players. You can be faulty in some other areas. And the way that you get them to forgive you is be honest. That's it. And demand respect. That's another thing. You can't have players talk to you in a certain way. Right? You are the game master. That's a certain role as a game master. You got to demand respect. If you go to public games, you got to demand respect. Like, there's a certain attitude players can't have with you, because if one can, the others will. That's how it goes, right? If one can give you the attitude, you'll get attitude from more. You don't want to have to do that with strangers, right? The online world can have that issue, right? If a player's mouthing off of you, every player feels like a mouth off of you. You got to maintain some respect. So you can't put up with people talking a certain way to you. You got to be able to say, no, unacceptable. And if you keep doing that, you're cut off. And then you got to be able to cut off, right? You got to gain that respect with the players that are willing to stay with you. And you got to let players walk away if they're not willing to give that respect to you. You got to test them. If they fail the test, you don't beg them to stay. Even if it means, okay, campaign's over, fair enough, time to go recruit for a new one. That's how that works. See, there's certain things you got to establish. Another thing as a game master that's good to establish is first to allow character death. Because character death is really danger. And it's hard to recreate that danger with any other threat. You know, maybe with the ultimate end to the game, but even that, if your character's not going to die, there's just a mental thing you get by in the process, right? Character death is danger, so that's really important. You want that for the mental thing. I am always asked advice about how to run a good horror game. And this is where I really say that you should allow character death in your games. It should be something you don't avoid. You don't have an excuse to get around. And you never play as if you're playing against the characters, but what you do is you play fair with the gaming rules, meaning you never save players. No matter how much you don't want things to end, you allow the game to flow, meaning if the characters die, they die. Now, when that happens, when you play fairball that much and your players see that you don't hold back, it doesn't always even have to be on character death. It could just be the brutality of what you allow. They notice, because they will, if you're playing fair and you're not playing favorites or getting suckered in and getting weak. The more, I hate to say it, cruelty that you allow to happen to the player characters, not because you're aiming it at them, but you just don't stop it because the rules are saying this is what happens. The more you are strict and allow that to happen, you build up a seriousness, like a respect of being serious with the players. Now, once you get that through, say, something like basic D&D, in a way, your game can instantly turn into a horror, even when you're not running a horror game. And here's what I mean. Now, as they take you more serious, they're concerned about the shadows. They're concerned about the creepy noise. They're concerned about the bang on the wall, right? But it's not so easy if they don't have that type of respect for you, right? That's so crucial. If they don't take you serious, that's a bang on the wall. Who knows? Probably some weak monster he put in there. You don't want your players mentally thinking that. And most players who have a negative thought about you won't tell you. That's another thing as a game master you got to learn. Most people aren't going to tell you when you suck. Especially the at-home game masters. You can have your friends and family play with you for like 30 years. And most of them won't even know that you suck, or they just won't say anything. So by the time you go in public and you're like, hey, I'm a great game master. I've done it for like 20 years at home. Here, try this. And you collapse and it's like, dude, you were great at home when you weren't being called out. But if you were called out, you probably would have improved what you're doing. So there's some, just going through some game mastering stuff that's not exactly in the books, like just telling you how things work. I mean, I like doing videos like this. You know, just casually shooting the shit with you guys, talking about things with gaming. I'll figure out a title by the time I go to get it up. Okay, I love you. Most of you. For now. Take care.